Good day, everyone. My name is Mr. DeLange. I just want to make a quick how-to video on Google Classroom and kind of go through a couple things that you're going to be seeing within my classroom during this virtual learning. So first and foremost, let's just talk about certain things you're going to see. Obviously, when you log into Google Classroom, you're going to probably see all your classes listed for you here. Please note that you need to be on your school email, PSD 202 email, to actually log into these currently. That will give you access to all the classes that you should have already been put in. If you haven't, please contact me or someone else in the building. We can get this fixed for you, okay? But just a couple things we need to talk about. First and foremost, obviously when you log in, you're going to see a couple different things. For example, you're probably going to have your math, English, social studies, all those things presented for you. For me, obviously, because I'm a math teacher, these are all my math classes that I've currently been running throughout this year, okay? Within our class period, I just want to talk about a couple of things. So if I just kind of click on that certain period, obviously it's going to pop up and show you everything that's been posted first and foremost on your stream page. This is going to be where you can either contact me, you can send me questions about certain material, we can talk over a certain problem, as well as you can basically see everything that's been posted, okay? This is kind of like our main screen that we can actually communicate with one another. This is one form of communication that we can use. There are going to be others to reach me throughout the year. The next portion is the classwork tab. Now, this is probably where you're going to be spending most of your time within the Google Classroom setting. This is going to have basically everything lined up for us, everything that we're going to be talking about, everything that we're going to be going over the first couple of weeks, okay? First and foremost, you can kind of see the classroom rules and expectations. That's going to have our syllabus as well as the Remind messaging app. The syllabus is something we'll talk about on that first day of school. We'll just go through certain procedures, things like that we're going to have to expect overall within the Google Classroom setting. The next piece of information is this Remind messaging app. For those of you who have used Remind, it's probably the easiest way to contact me and for me to get a hold of you. It's a direct message to my cell phone itself, so I can actually see it right away and respond real time, especially if it's a question over like the homework or something like that. If you haven't used this before, I'd recommend logging in and actually creating an account and signing up for my Remind message. It's very helpful for me to communicate on this rather than the Google Classroom. Both options are possible. I'm just a little bit quicker on the Remind messaging app when it comes to communicating, okay? Especially within this year's setting. It is an optional aspect. We will talk about that as well on Monday, but it's kind of up to you. It's probably the one I use more often than not to send things out as well as receive messages for it. Next thing you'll see under here, under Unit 1 Materials, is the tentative calendar for Unit 1. Basically, this is going to be able to tell us everything that we need to know coming forward within the few couple weeks of remote learning. I have the first 4 weeks planned out for us. Basically, it's going to describe to you what's going to be happening throughout the Zoom lesson that day, our exit activity, which is basically like an exit slip, and we'll talk about that more in depth once we get to it, as well as a homework assignment that's due that night, okay? Please note this is a tentative calendar. That basically means is it can change depending on kind of where we're at, what happens certain days, technical difficulties, all those things, okay? So this is kind of a very broad version of a calendar. It's what we're expecting to teach, but it can change, okay? So please bear with it. Don't follow it necessarily strictly as it is. It's kind of just like a pacing guide for you to see where you're going to be at over the next couple of days, especially if like you can't make a Zoom or something like that, or if you fall behind, this is a good way to check it, see where you're at, where we're going, things like that. Next thing that's up, if you go to the actual next topic, I will post weeks of work here, okay? Usually I'll post daily work at a time. I put Monday and Tuesday up early just because we're not really doing too much work those days. It's gonna be a lot more of just kind of just understanding the process, going over a couple of things, getting used to all this. Okay, so the first couple of days I have posted. Typically what I'll do is I'll post daily assignments on there so you can kind of see like, okay, Wednesday, this is what I have to do. And then Thursday, this is what I'll have to do, okay? If you are curious what the week's gonna look like, this plan of the week is a very set schedule. This is actually a weekly schedule that I'll put out where I'll actually say like what we're going to be Zooming about that day, what the homework is, and then what the exit activity is. So as you can see, Monday, Tuesday is lined up. Wednesday, our Zoom, currently going over those materials as well as watching that lesson for homework, okay? The calendar is basically the whole unit. This will strictly be like that week, okay? I will say that this is a lot more reliable when it comes to looking over what's due that week, as it shouldn't change. The calendar, however, is a little bit more tentative in that you could see changes later on, okay? The weekly stuff's pretty much set. Going back to this information here, the last couple things I just want to show you. Basically, how it's going to work when it comes to like our actual virtual classroom. Each day, I'll post this certain material right here. As you can see, it's Monday, 8/31, so it's actually timestamped for the day that we are going to use it on. If you go to view material, I'm basically going to have the agenda posted there, basically small things that we're going to talk about in the Zoom, as well as if there is a homework assignment for that night, I will post it in this slide. Okay. So typically, this is going to be like a video for you to watch that night that we can bring into tomorrow's class and actually talk about it and go through a couple of things. Okay. Obviously, for Monday, we're not really starting our actual lessons yet. So this is kind of just a separate assignment that we'll talk about more in depth once we actually meet on Monday. The big thing to note about this class is that this is where I will post the Zoom link. That's kind of the key thing about this. I will post your Zoom link in this portion so that you can actually use it and access our virtual classes. I haven't posted it yet just because we are a week out still. I don't see a reason to really schedule the meeting, but by the weekend I should have it so that when Monday rolls around, you can all see it, access it, and do that right away. So that's kind of just an overview of your Google Class. If you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. Okay, I can discuss it. I can go through with this. I can answer by email, remind message. Doesn't really matter. I'll find a way to kind of get you the answer. On top of that, please bear with us. If I can't find you the answer, I'll try to get to someone that can. Okay. Besides that, hopefully I see you on Monday. Everyone else have a good off week, and let's get ready to rumble with virtual learning.